J. Edgar Hoover later hired Boulez to neutralize him, so he was deported under the guise and lies of tax fraud and tax evasion. It wasn't true, so he wasn't jailed. But 13 years later, in the Drake Hotel on the same floor that Margaret Sanger stayed on, he was taken out. That's why I'm reading and applying information from books to show you how to be invisible, because this account won't stay small for long. And I'll be damned if it's gonna show up in my brand new house. So we see how the elite use our own people to take out our own people, right? Man, let me tell you about the latest shenanigans of Black Lives Matter. We've already established this is an organization fueled by George Soros. But what I didn't share earlier was that Black Lives Matter is the propaganda arm of the deep state, whereas Antifa is the military arm of this organization. They're even using Molotov cocktails as weapons, which is the child of its Nazi father. Black Lives Matter funds Act Blue, which houses foundations, charities, and civic funds for the Democratic National Campaign, where deposits were made from California and Mexico. El Chapo donated to this foundation, and his currency tracks of the dirty money that he paid with led back to him, which led to him being charged with sex trafficking. So the people who fund the Democratic Party been taking money from sex traffickers. And y'all still voting for these people who are complicit in trafficking us and our children? Hate to bust y'all's bubble with all of this, but I'm not here to make friends. I'm here as an oracle of truth to awaken you. If we become friends because we are both motivated to learn the deepest truths of life and of ourselves and supportive of each other, that's a dream come true. But these are seeds I'm sowing to bring people to a higher consciousness of existence. That's my intention. And these three chicks who are all members of the Boule Society, aren't they supposed to be putting the cops on blast and helping along legislation for the Black lives that matter so much? The fuck is going on here? If you don't recognize this as a ceremony in the dark arts to summon dark entities, you need to take a heed to this alarm clock on this video. Now, we spoke of the Boulez in prior volumes, but let's look closer at its mascot. It's a half man, half woman, half lion, looking like a sphinx. Y'all see that? This is to influence the populace towards gender disorientation, as mentioned in prior volumes. The paw is on an urn, which holds ashes of a dead person. Black means dead in the eyes of the law. So all those coveted Greek letters don't mean shit, because all y'all in this urn, you dig? The elite made you think you had a seat at the table, but all you doing is supporting the table with your student debt, your work of the 40 hours a week, and with your covenant made between them and you, giving your will to their system. You have no real economic power if you don't own your own land and literally make your own money. Therefore, you'll never have a seat at their table. Make your own table. Man cannot serve two masters, and we know any person who is double-minded is unstable in all their ways. The circles represents the manipulation and the manipulation and the manipulation of the circle of manipulation that is purported by the elite to keep you confused and involved in their sports games and video games. The paw is the oppression and the depression of our people by the elite. Half male and half female is what they're doing to our genes through soy products and estrogen-infused animal products and steroids and meats, and giving us the images of these rappers in skirts and men in dresses to get our men to give up their masculinity. Don't do it. Y'all know I'm the realist capitalist, right? Not the realist, but a realist, corresponding to objectivity towards currency. So here's another scoreboard I want you to check out. We have $1.2 trillion of spending power as a community. And what are we buying? $50 billion of Nike's revenue, half of it comes from black people. That's more than the entire GDP of Costa Rica. Young Black America spends $2 billion a year on Jordans, $4 billion a year on liquor and alcohol, $600 million a year on fast food, and $574 million on beauty and grooming products, higher than all demographics combined. 63% of Black people spent money at Saks Fifth Avenue, who was the same company that bought and sold our family members on Wall Street going back to the 1800s. Blacks spent millions at Neiman's, who also owned our ancestors as well. That's more than 52% of Black America buying for self-esteem and clout. 24% of the Black dollar was spent at Bloomingdale's, another company who was involved in the transatlantic slave trade. We're supporting our slave masters. We're buying merchandise from people who bought and sold us as merchandise. Do you see the insanity that we as a people have fallen for over and over? Materialism has replaced knowledge of self. Instead of reading ourselves out of bondage, working internally, we put brands and jerseys and Mercedes on our bodies externally, robbing us of our own identity, robbing us of our own economic and political power. Sneakers? That word comes from slavery. They were specially made, vulcanized shoes where they used to rob other plantations of slaves, and now seen on the modern slaves of sports athletes. Kicks even come from slavery when the indigenous were kicked by their slave owners that had shoes on with rubber soles. Vulcanized is propagated by Vulcan, which reminded me of Cullen, which is not only a street name on the south side of Houston, Texas, which is predominantly Black, but cull is a term meaning to kill a number of wild animals from a group, especially in order to stop the group from becoming too large. On the street, the city has given permits for liquor store after liquor store, and church after church, and fast food place after fast food place, all while sprinkling beauty supply houses all amongst themselves. This is psychological warfare we need to wake up to. They setting us up to take ourselves out. Some of us in our community are not emotionally and intellectually oriented properly, because if we knew the truth, we wouldn't be eating McDonald's, trying to be football players and rappers. We are a people deceived and don't know who we are. So we try to identify with what's popular or identifying with whatever we see on television and trying to gain social acceptance by whatever the white people deem acceptable. We have to empower ourselves and opt out instead of chasing the white man's clout. The greatest tragedy in Black America is no father in the home. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, we look up to them because they had leadership from their fathers. A man in the home, he teaches and enforces discipline and intellect. It's by design that this capitalistic society causes mothers to choose their babies' fathers or welfare. It's part of the agenda to destroy the Black family, the family at large, so we can be dependent on the state. It's by design this feudal plantation economically castrates the Black man by several different ways and locks him up for random policies fronting as laws to take him from his home. The elite know without a father in the home, it destroys the solid foundation needed for children to grow up as balanced men and women. You can't be set free until you're made free. Solomon's temple wasn't built until he first built his house. First be still, then start to build. And this is why this is my last volume, because manifestation is happening very rapidly for those who have eyes to see. That's why I offer the Affluence Alliance, so that we can manifest together. Our pain runs deep and a friend is born for adversity. You don't have to heal alone. Being a victim for a moment to process our pain is part of the healing process. You don't have to be strong all the time. Crying is actually a spiritual miracle. Magic comes in many forms, so accept that as one, just like the law of attraction. Make room in the consciousness of your body for higher vibrations to enter. You gotta allow yourself to release sadness sometimes. Some of our melanated people who have very deep generations of trauma, they're covering up their pain with materialism and book knowledge and the glory days of the high school football days, and even religion in some cases, which replaces knowledge of self, causing us to compete with each other with proms and Prada purchases and dollars given to Dior, rather than learning about trust funds, mutual funds, and investor portfolios. I'll be sharing with you my Forex knowledge coming up soon as well, because we have to take the helm of self. So before you judge people who hold stacks up to their ears, maybe look on to them with compassion because of their uncried tears that they wish someone would hear. Once you identify the origin of the pain, then take measures to work through it. If you stay in victimhood, however, then you're in a place of arrested development. In the Affluence Alliance, we touch on a few modalities to practice within yourself, so when you're triggered by past trauma, you can heal. You can interrupt the pattern. You have the power to heal yourself, but you have to want to, and you have to be persistent at it. We can grow in this together if you're humble enough to accept the fact that you have emotional and spiritual work to do. The elite use the media and the movies and the music to manipulate your emotions so that you can take a side, so that they can take you down. You were blind to the chess game, so you've been blindsided by their players that you call banker, governor, or pastor, but no more. You have to opt out from the system to deprogram your mind and your brain from the agreement made by the machine's hypnosis. I'm holding a moment for manifestation on IG Live on December 21st because a huge astrological event is happening for the righteous to manifest for 2021. A major cosmic portal opens up once a year this date, where Christmas is a huge cover-up for us to miss it. Lead that pagan holiday for the birds this year, and come join me on IG Live so you can manifest your dreams next year. This is a once-a-year event, once in a lifetime, because the energies are so strong for this pivotal time in humanity. So join me or lose the opportunity. This information in this series has challenged my sensitive soul to find and maintain balance, and now that I've worked through most of it, it's time to move from it and continue to chart a new territory to manifest more and more currency, spiritually, metaphysically, emotionally, and literally. And I'm taking who's ever with me. That's why to join the Affluence Alliance, you have to be committed to being still in your surroundings, in the brain and on the earth plane, so we can build a world we would love to live in through our imaginative faculty. It's not for everyone. You got to be committed to you. I can give you modalities to help you reach heaven, but you're the one who got to climb. I can't give that to you. And if you don't learn the lessons your soul was contracted to learn here, you're doomed to repeat this life. So make the sacrifice and reach for the light. Thank you for your time and considering this information that has hopefully dawned on you a new revelation. Peace and blessings.